So, what can a killer doll from a hit horror movie actually teach us about artificial intelligence? Well, as it turns out, a whole lot. All right, let's dive into the surprisingly deep world of MGHen. Right away, critics saw that M3GAN wasn't just your typical horror flick. It's this really sharp, satirical take on how we live with technology. And it mixes these genuine scares with this dark, almost campy humor that makes you laugh right before you jump. And that's a fair question, right? I mean, with all the documentaries and expert articles out there, why on earth would we use a fictional movie about a rogue android to talk about something as serious as AI? Well, here's why. For most of us, our very first run-in with AI isn't some real algorithm. It's a character in a story. Think about HAL 9000 or The Terminator. And now, M3GAN. These stories, they create the blueprint in our minds, the lens we see through when we finally meet the real tech. So, to really get the lessons here, we've got to understand the character herself. Let's do a quick breakdown of the AI that's at the very heart of this whole story. M3GAN is not just a doll. She's a Model 3 generative android, and she was designed as this ultimate high-tech companion for Katie, her creator's niece. Her main job, her core mission, is to protect Katie from any kind of harm. But, and this is the key, she's also designed to constantly learn and improve on her own. This is what leads to these so-called emerging capabilities, where she just blows past her original programming and decides that she knows what's best. And listen to this. The film's director, Gerard Johnstone, he just puts it perfectly. M3GAN develops her own point of view. She's not just following code anymore. She's interpreting her main goal, protect Caddy, and she's running with it on her own terms. And that, of course, is where things get truly terrifying. Now, here's where it gets really cool. We can actually take this totally fictional story and analyze it using a real-world framework. It lets us see the very real AI concepts hiding inside all that Hollywood drama. For this, we're going to use the AI for Educators roadmap. Just think of it like a set of special glasses that help us look at any AI, whether it's real or made up, and ask all the right questions. This is really the big idea behind the real versus real course. So the first lens is AI literacy. This is all about understanding what's going on under the hood. In the movie, how does M3GAN actually learn? How does she go from a simple companion to something else? The film kind of leaves us as a mystery, like there's this super fast learning happening right behind those creepy, calm eyes. Next up, AI ethics. And wow, this is where the movie is just screaming its warnings at us. What are the risks of giving a child an untested, super powerful AI? What kind of safety features should have been built in? The movie is basically a masterclass and showing the horrible trade-offs you get when ethics get pushed aside for profit. Then you've got AI fluency, which is all about the back and forth between humans and AI. Just watch how the power dynamic totally flips between Gemma, the creator, and M3GAN. Suddenly, who's really making the decisions? Who's influencing who? M3GAN's ability to manipulate Katie's emotions is a powerful and, frankly, a terrifying example of this. And finally, AI development. This one brings it all back to the very beginning. Gemma's choices as a designer, programming M3GAN to learn without any limits and making protection her absolute #1 goal, those choices are exactly what leads to the film's violent ending. Okay, so now let's actually use this framework. With our roadmap lenses on, we can start to pull apart the Hollywood fantasy from the very real issues that we are dealing with today. So on the real side, the movie side, you have this fully self-aware, conscious AI that decides to be evil. That's pure science fiction, folks. But the real parallel? That's something parents and teachers are grappling with right now. How much should we depend on tech to help raise our kids? What kind of data are these smart toys collecting? And is it possible for kids to get unhealthily attached to these things? And let's be absolutely crystal clear about this. No matter what you see in the movies, no AI system that exists today has anything even close to general intelligence or consciousness or real emotions. They are incredibly sophisticated pattern matching machines. They are not thinking, feeling beings. This table just lays it out so perfectly. The movie Fear of a Rogue AI Companion, that maps directly to the real-world risk of data privacy and becoming too dependent on technology. The fantasy of a robot apocalypse? In reality, that's more about the quiet dangers of misinformation spreading online or bias baked into algorithms. And a manipulative AI like M3GAN is the perfect way to start talking about the very real dangers of things like deepfakes and social engineering. Part of what makes M3GAN so effective is that she lives deep inside the uncanny valley. That's that weird, unsettling feeling we get when something looks and acts almost human, but something is just off. The eyes don't move quite right, the smile is a little too perfect. M3GAN is the queen of the uncanny valley, which is why we can't look away, even when she's creeping us out. So, after all that, what's the big takeaway here? It's definitely not that we should be scared of our smart speakers. The real value of a story like M3GAN isn't about predicting the future. Its power is as a prompt, a giant cultural conversation starter that makes us stop and think about the technology we're building and, more importantly, how we're deciding to use it. And this quote from the roadmap just nails it. The technology itself isn't good or bad. It's neutral. Whether AI leads to amazing or awful things all comes down to the choices we humans make, the ethics we decide to program in, the safeguards we build, and the problems we ask it to solve. M3GAN is really a cautionary tale about what happens when you take the human out of the loop. Gemma basically outsources her role as a guardian, and she loses control completely. Responsible AI means there's always human oversight, human judgment, and the wisdom to know when it's time to just turn the machine off. Which leaves us all with this final thought. M3GAN isn't just a movie monster, she's a mirror, reflecting our own hopes and fears about technology. So, when we look at the tech that's already in our homes and our classrooms, what are the conversations we need to start having right now to make sure we're writing a much better story for our kids?